Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to another season review episode. We're doing the one that everybody wants us to do. Well, maybe everybody doesn't want, but anyway, it's one we've been waiting for. It's on Manchester United. But we have done three previously. If you haven't checked them out, do watch the Chelsea one with Nishikant. We've done Manchester City with Adarsh and Gaurav. It's a pretty nice one as well. And then we just did the Barcelona one today with Kanaya. So do watch those if you haven't. Of course, Kanaya was very disappointed because he wanted to do this one, but I think one depressing club I think was enough for him, so we kept him away from this one. But we've got two wonderful guests here today. So we've got Sahil. Sahil, welcome to the show. Is this your first time for 2022? I think it is.
Yeah, first time this year. Yeah,
Yeah.
good to
How are
be
you
here.
doing?
I'm good. Yeah,
Yeah. We had a bit of a
maybe
chat. And Farhan, back
not so good
again.
after the season. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not so good after the season that happened, but yeah, just
Yeah. No, I think it was good for you not to be on this show. I think, yeah, because it's just been depression. Yeah, I think it was good for
yeah.
some people not to be. I don't know. For United fans anyway. Yeah, and of course you got Farhan as well. Farhan, yeah, he's all Farhan needs to say is what is going on behind him. Yeah, he's ready to put this all behind. He's like, yeah, I don't want to even talk about it, but we will talk about the season. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Unlike Sahil, I've been here quite sometimes on this show because this is like therapy to me, you know?
It is, yeah. I think this is like your third or fourth time already this year, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we've
I
had
should
quite
be
a
paying
few.
you, Rohit, for my for my appearances.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Farhan is also a bit of a Liverpool sympathizer, not a fan, but a sympathizer. So yeah, he's also got something to look forward to this Saturday. I don't know if that'll soften the blow, but yeah, I wonder what happened if Liverpool won the quadruple. I wonder if I'm very happy or sad. I don't know. Anyway, we
Yeah,
don't have to worry about it. And
that's not public information. I was hoping that would
you did the
that would.
Liverpool, the Premier League, the one that they win, the title reaction show. You did that one with me. So
Oh yeah, that's
yeah, it's
absolutely.
all open knowledge, man, for
It's
people. Yeah.
knowledge. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, canon. It's canon, as they call it. But anyway, all right. Let's get into it. Let's get into the serious stuff here. Let's start with you, Sahil. I mean, I normally ask at this point, I ask people how do you rank the season, and I think we all know what the rank is because at least for me, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being lowest, so I'd probably give it a -1,000. But I mean, what went wrong? Where did just start with that. Where did it go wrong for you this season? Because we were talking about a title challenge, and then here we are, relying on Brighton to get United into Europa League. So where did it go wrong?
I mean, it's kind of harsh to put on the previous manager, but I feel like kind of convinced them to Solskjaer. Like, I guess couple of
Mhm.
seasons of like haphazard recruitment, like signing players that were offered and not really players we pursued, and also players were definitely tactically undercooked. You could see that, and once you have someone like Ronaldo who needs a team to be built around him, I guess Solskjaer wasn't up to that job, like in the sense of Zidane or Carlo were, I guess when he was in Madrid. So I feel like it was like a combination of effects which all didn't like when you come like yeah all of them, like maybe he could have tackled one of them, like one problem, but like the combination of problems probably was his undoing. And then I think we did well under Ralph for the first few weeks. Like we were doing well on XT, if that counts. We were creating chances, weren't finishing them, but I still think if we won some of the games, the confidence would have been better. Players might have trusted Rangnick more, but then because we didn't get the results and just spiraled down, it was not possible to implement his pressing game. And then it was just like a free fall since like February. Weren't getting anywhere close to the performances we we should be putting on, given the squad that was provided. And yeah, I guess yeah, just like kept getting worse and worse every passing month.
Yeah, well, like every week. Yeah, I mean, Society is actually a good point because I think United's form fell off a cliff after the Atletico second leg. I just think I
Yeah.
think up to the point of the Champions League, some of them thought, yeah, well, maybe we'll get a deep run in the Champions League. We'll see where we go. And I think they were like trying to keep the levels up. That goes away. I think it's almost that the players go, yeah, well, that's it. Well, thank you very much. Where's my flight booking? Where's my agent? Where's my travel agent? I think that just went that way. Did you feel that way to find? Where it's like they just felt like they had nothing to play for after that.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if the Liverpool came before or afterwards. The Liverpool game against United
It came after.
afterwards, right? So I think like losing to Atletico literally gassed them, and everybody knew what was coming when we went against Liverpool at that point. So it was like any glimmer of hope for top four was literally banking on how the rest of the other teams fared out, and I feel like United for some reason were still, even after the Liverpool game, I was just like, we're not making top four, but statistically we were still there. And there was like these little moments of hope that every week where, you know, pundits or whatever would put out, like, if United just muster up something, you know, like they'll be able to win. So, but clearly the dynamic at the team was that, you know, I think there's like 9 of them that were probably out of contract at the end of the season. And it's just, for them, they have legitimately no reason or no like fight for them to, like, there's no reason for them to fight for United at that point when they know they're leaving. Like Matic announced, I think a couple games after that that Liverpool game, everybody knew what Pogba's situation was. Lingard, we don't know why these guys are still here. Mata as well, and somehow Mata's playing more in the later half of the season than he has probably in the last like 2 years of his tenure at United. So it's just a mess over there. There's no real consistency. There's no quality outside of, like, you know, Ronaldo putting up goals. It just goes to show that this team doesn't have an image or like a vision of some sort, because it's just all over the place.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. That's a nice segue as well. You know, it's like there's so many things to talk about. I'm trying to gather how to talk about it, but that's actually a nice segue as well into something else that that Farhan mentioned, because he was talking about players, you know, sort of like, you know, announcing that they were leaving. And I think that's a good point, because Sahil, when you think about it, if you're trying to fit, everybody wants a trophy, right? No matter whether you hate the club, whether you like the fans, whatever, you want a trophy because that's something you get. Top 4 is not something anybody cares about. Like, you know, okay, fine, they're going to be in the Champions League. I don't care. I'm not here, right? So do you think that recruitment has an issue? Because when you've got 6 players leaving, they're probably thinking, well, I've got to make my next big move and I can't afford to get injured, you know, before that. So I'm going to, you know, should I worry about getting top 4, or do I need to, you know, secure that? And do you think that played a part as well, that, you know, a top 4 scrap is important for the club and the fans? It's probably not that important for the players because they're not going to be here next season.
I mean, they won't be here this next season, but they're still trying to fight for the next contract, right? Like all the players who are leaving, they aren't guaranteed to have moves lined up for them. Like they're still trying to like find basically, if they end of the season on a high, they might get like a bigger sign-on bonus. Like there might be a bidding war for them, but like if they're free agents, so they might like attract a higher sign-on bonus from a team if there's like multiple teams involved. So I still think they have something to play for. Maybe not for United, but like for themselves. But it felt like, yeah, it did seem like a lot of the players had given up. But like, I feel like that wasn't limited to players who aren't going to be here next season. That was for everyone who was playing, more or less. Like players like Rashford were definitely going to be here next season. It didn't seem like he was like putting in a lot of effort on the field when he was there. Could be for what's happening behind the scenes, we don't really know. But like, just like giving an example of Rashford, but really, like we've seen him perform. We've seen him like really like track back, create, but like just to see him like not put like see him into the game, like it felt like it wasn't just limited to players who are going to be out of contact. It seemed like a common theme around the whole squad.
That's a good point as well. But I do feel that sometimes it's a little bit like a cliche where people say, oh yeah, if you play well, we'll get a bigger contract at some other club. I almost feel like most of these players today, they've got agents. They've got people going, well, he's not that bad. You know, it's just Man United, or that's just Chelsea. That's their problem. He's a good player, you know. Just give him this much, he'll join you. I think they often, you have those kind. I think that's my conspiracy theory. By the way, this show will have a lot of conspiracy theories. So that's one of my conspiracy theories. I think that, you know, they don't really care. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They just, you know, Pogba is getting a big contract apparently at Juventus. He's already getting that. You know, there's interest for Cavani. Cavani is, you know, was interested. Barcelona were interested in him at one point. I don't know where he's going to go now. But so, you know, there's always offers for these guys. But anyway, yeah, well, that's one thing. Let's talk about, I don't want to talk too much about the Glazers, because I actually don't think they were so much at the ownership. I don't think was at fault this season. I don't think it was. I think the consequences, what happened this season is what they've been doing for the last 8 or 9 years. That's what's happened. I don't think they were much at fault this season. They did. I mean, there were a few, you know, and there were 2 moments. I think there were 2 pivotal moments, right? And I think one is the fact when they sacked Solskjaer. They could have sacked Solskjaer after Liverpool. They decided, no, we'll keep him. And they lost out on Conte. And, you know, Conte goes to Spurs. You know, Solskjaer beats Spurs, by the way. It was 3-0. They sack Nuno, they get Conte. Conte takes Spurs to 4th place. Right? That's if there's ever a loss that was a win, that's one of those. You know, there's actually a line. Sahil knows this one, right? So, you know, sometimes when you have to win, you have to lose. And the one who wins even after he loses is called what? He knows the answer. That's a dialogue from a movie. Sahil knows the answer. Yes, but anyway, they call Tottenham. But yeah, and then I think the second pivotal moment was not signing anybody in January, because I thought that was That was shocking because I think, yeah, you would have probably thought they would have given him at least one player. He was asking for someone expensive. Do you think do you think either of those would have made a difference, hiring Conte or bringing someone in January?
Yeah, well, if we're keeping it to this season, yeah, for sure. Those two things stick out. The reason why, well, for the first point that you mentioned, there was no succession plan. So there was no plan put in place if Ole was to fail. Like they were all in on him, which a club of that stature shouldn't be shouldn't be like all in on one particular coach. So that aspect of it was terribly run because like it didn't give enough room for, like when Solskjaer was fired, there was still 3 weeks or 2 weeks of Carrick and McKinnon, and if in the, not to make note of this, but in the Athletic article they said that those two guys in particular would have stayed on if they had known if there was like a clear-cut coach that was supposed to come in at that point, but they didn't know, and they kind of just left sour, I guess, taste in their mouth, and them leaving was, a big factor to the point that players didn't respect these coaches that did come in afterwards. So essentially that is a result of poor planning. And then, yeah, in January, letting players go like Martial, obviously nobody's seen the Greenwood situation happen, like for coming about, but players like Lingard still hanging about when they should have been sold in the summer and should have been again sold in the winter as well. And not blustering the club, the team. Of course, most people nowadays don't use the winter window to buy players, but we've seen in what Liverpool did in this winter, and look at how Luis Diaz is now like a focal point of the front four. So I don't subscribe to that. I think they should have bought someone, especially a DM. Every window passes and there's no DM coming. But anyways, yes, they're on the hook for sure. They're not getting off that easy.
I disagree on the second part. I think nowadays teams use the winter transfer because of the cup tied rule out. Now, because you don't have, because before people used to be a little bit hesitant because you're cup tied, so you don't try to spend much on a player that you can't play. But now, because there's no cup tie, I think teams use the January transfer. We saw United do it with Bruno Fernandes. They brought him in, they benefited from that. I think last season, I can't remember, but I know this season Luis Diaz did it, and I'm sure last season, we talk about the winter transfer window is not a transfer, but Chelsea got Tuchel in January, and that worked out well. That's not really a transfer.
Spurs got two players who turned their season around.
Sorry?
Spurs got two players who turned.
Yeah, Spurs got two players as well. I think that's ultimately what got them top 4 over Arsenal. So, those are the things that, that do matter. But, it's all about opinions, right? It's fine. I think it would have made a difference. But yeah, that's there. So Farhan, coming back to you then on this one, because I want to talk about more of the players really and not much. No, the reason why I don't want to talk much about the Glazers is because I think we keep talking about the Glazers and then we ignore the real problems. And the real problem this season has been the players. I think that's a factor. And we were talking about it. There's never been a situation where there's so many players who want to leave. There's so many players who are leaving. It doesn't happen with United, but it's happening. It's happened this season. It's happening this season. It's hard to quantify it, but do you think United could have done a better job getting some of these players out in the summer? I mean, there's Pogba. They probably should have got rid of him last summer. They didn't. They said, no, we'll try to get him a new contract, whatever reason. They extended Cavani's contract. For some reason, Cavani, and this season, Cavani is literally given the middle finger to fans. That was all that was there. Probably Mata should have gone a long time ago. Matic, again, somebody who's probably hung around a bit long. I mean, he was pretty good this season, to be honest. But again, Phil Jones, I don't know, it's like the apocalypse. Phil Jones is just around. I mean, there's so many players. Do you think that they could have done a better job, like shifting some of these last season? Again, just, from the point of view of just trying to reduce the numbers, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of went through almost half of them at that point. Yeah, they all should have been sold at any given point. Most of them that we're mentioning like Cavani wanted out. And, publicly it was known. Pogba, there's been back and forth about him wanting to stay, wanting to go, whatever the case may be. Lingard went to West Ham. Mata is just like this ambassador, and he's just more of like a mascot than he is a player at this point. No disrespect, I think he's a
He did
phenomenal
pretty well
player.
actually at the Rangnick, though, to be honest. Fair towards the end of the season, he was probably one of the better players.
Yeah,
Better than Bruno,
but
for
the
sure.
bar is low, my friend.
I know the bar is low. I'm just saying, right? That's where we are scraping at right now.
Of course, there's
Yeah.
just, and this is where I'm talking about. Like you said it right. Like this, you can't blame them. Maybe not this the owners this season, but there is the fact that these players are still here is their fault. Their fault of not being able to let go of these players and like recognize when the team needs, and not utilizing particular talents like particular positions like the DM. Even before we signed Pogba, we needed a DM, and that the last person I think we signed in that role that played that role was probably Carrick, and Carrick was sitting on the bench for the last. Hargreaves. Sorry, you're right. But I just mean like the last player to play that position quite well was Carrick, and Carrick played under Jose Mourinho, I think it was. So essentially, of course, like oh no, it would have been Luis Van Gaal. Sorry.
Yeah.
He did play under Mourinho as well. Not as a regular, but he was there. He was around.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyhow, but the point is like these players should have been sold, no question, years ago. A lot of them are well past it, and hopefully this is just one of those things where we can look back at it and laugh. But I don't hold that confidence in the Glazers.
Yeah, that's one thing to talk about. So I'll talk a player who divides opinion, Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you think it was a good decision to bring him back? I mean, looking back now on this season, do you think it was the right decision? Do you think they shouldn't have brought him back? I mean, that's a very divisive question I'm asking you, but yeah, what do you think?
I mean, it's really hard for me to say that it wasn't a good decision to bring him back because he's scored like 20 goals this season. So obviously, like I'm not gonna go and say that he didn't have a good season, but it would have been a better decision to bring him back if there was a plan on how to play him. Right, there was no plan on how to play him. Like we just like put him there, and we were expecting that we would score goals. Basically, like just from my understanding, what happened is that because Ronaldo doesn't press, and that's not the fault of him. Like he doesn't press because he doesn't have legs for it, and doesn't make sense for him to like spend his energy pressing. The rest of the team moves up to press, and that creates like more gap between and the defense, which exposes players like Maguire who don't really who don't really turn well. Like he's very slow on the turn. So like that makes his job a lot more difficult and makes him look a lot worse than he would be in like a more functional team. So coming back, I think it would be a better decision if there was a plan on how to play him in this team. It didn't look like Oli had a plan. Definitely Randy didn't have a plan for him because his game is based on pressing. So if someone like Zidane was there, maybe it would make more sense. But not under these guys.
What do you think, Farhan, on that note?
It's not as simple cut as like yes or no, but I'm of the opinion of Sahil where there was no plan put in place. I feel like the team was catering to him more than he was like catering to the style of teams, the style of football that Ole played beforehand. I felt like everybody regressed a bit, especially Bruno, trying to cater to Ronaldo. But at the same time, like we would have been fighting for relegation if he wasn't playing. I can honestly say if we never had those goals, we would be in a way worse position than we are right now. So it's not as clear cut. There's many different factors. I think Sahar hit the nail that he looks really good because certain players look terrible. Maguire for starts, but yeah, I just think that the style of play and the way United have been playing, it just kind of looks.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer. It is, but it's one of those divisive questions, in which there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. You know what I think. See, when you think about the goals that Ronaldo has scored, I am of the firm opinion that when you look back and you think, well, if you hadn't had Ronaldo because Greenwood was out, Martial decided he didn't fancy it, so he left. You had Rashford, of course, doing good. I mean, you talk about Rashford, but that he was not good. Cavani was injured, but was he really injured or was he injured? That's a big question, isn't he? He was unavailable so much. yes, it's hard for me to make. So are these the consequences of Ronaldo joining, or is it just something that happened? It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel that it was a bit of. I mean, the only thing I would say is that they were never going to sign a midfielder. Like a lot of people said, they should have signed a midfielder instead of paying all that money for Ronaldo. They were not going to sign a midfielder. They had 2 months to sign a midfielder. They didn't. They had January to sign a midfielder. They didn't. So I don't think there was ever a plan to sign a midfielder. I think Oli was happy with McFred, and and then of course they use the whole, well, we don't have a permanent manager, so we're not going to sign a midfielder for you. That excuse, and they went off, and that's just it. So if you're not going to spend the money on a midfielder, you might as well get Ronaldo. So that's where I stand on it. But yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think Ronaldo was a divisive sign? What do you think? Do you think he was a good signing for United? Do you think they were better off, not signing him or using the money elsewhere? Let us know in the comment section. Happy to hear that. Let's carry on though with some more. We're gonna talk about the other players right now though, because man, the 3 players I want to talk. Actually, there's I could talk about 11 players, but we don't have the time. We're gonna stick to 3 or 4. We're not going to do too many. Let's start with Bruno. Let's start with Bruno Fernandes. I mean, key player, and he's probably now he's almost sweating on his future because of what's happened. I feel he's signed a new contract, and yet it looks like he's one of those disgruntled figures. I don't know what's happened to him. Totally lost his form. Do you think he's been found out? Is that what's happened, or do you just think he's had this second, third season syndrome, whatever?
I think this, like going back to Ronaldo, this might be a consequence of Ronaldo joining. Like Bruno basically had the whole, like he had a lot of space for himself. Like no one was like, he could go around up and down. Like players would adjust for him. Like if there was Cavani would like make space for him if he wanted to like take a more center forward position. If Cavani had the ability to like drop back, drop left, drop right. Ronaldo obviously would be like he's probably like trying to stay more closer to the penalty box. But there's also areas where Bruno probably wants to operate. So I guess Bruno wasn't as effective. Bruno's always been a moments player. He hasn't been like a player who has been brilliant throughout 90 minutes. Like he's not someone like say Thiago or Kevin De Bruyne who you observe throughout 90 minutes and you'll be like, wow, what a game he had. Like Bruno is obviously gonna like make a couple of passes or out of nowhere, or like make a couple of chances for his teammates, like get just numbers and basically like impact the game while not necessarily being brilliant. So I guess because of the changing dynamics of the team, first because Ronaldo came in, and then because the whole system changed when Varane joined, the whole thing where he had to, I guess, be more position disciplined and could not like just venture out of like his roles. Like he couldn't like basically, I guess like I don't know, like shuttle up and down as per his wish, like how we used to do. Like he was given basically a free hand under Solskjaer, which was taken away from him. So I would say like a preseason might help him when he plays under a manager who clearly explains to him that what is expected of him. So yeah, this very disappointing season for him. But I think it's more because of the circumstances and less because, and all, it's obviously his fault as well. But I guess it's more because of the circumstances he was in.
Yeah, I just wonder what's going mentally as well. I feel that penalty that he missed against Villa, I think that was what kind of like broke him a little bit, because when he missed that penalty, I think he kind of just went. That was one thing that he was good at, and all of a sudden, Ronaldo's going to take that over, and then it's almost like he knew he was going to be second fiddle to Ronaldo. So that I don't know. I don't know.
Also, one more thing I think was also like a loss of confidence, and for moments where if you lose confidence, then things you were good at, like basically making like diagonal 40-50 yard diagonals won't come off because you don't have the confidence in yourself. So that also affected his overall performance because like there was nothing to show for the indiscipline we knew he had.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I hope he gets back to his best. And of course, hopefully, Donny has a plan for him next season, but we'll see what happens. Farhan, talk about Marcus Rashford. I mean, we're coming to the big one after this one. We'll talk about Marcus Rashford first. We all know what's coming next. But anyway, we'll go to Marcus Rashford, or the who's coming next. But yeah, Marcus Rashford. I mean, talk about Bruno. See, the thing about Bruno is, as bad as he was, he looked like, well, okay, he's trying and he's doing this and that. And when I asked the question whether Bruno's been found out, I think Marcus Rashford has been found out. It just feels like, and Sal touched on off-field problems, and I'll come to that. But the reality is, it just feels like he has one idea and he doesn't have anything else. Like he doesn't know what to do on the field. It's almost like he's lost on the field. Like it almost feels like he wants to be anywhere but on that Old Trafford pitch at the moment, or well, a football field really, in that red shirt.
Yeah, I don't know about found out. I mean, you play bad, it's kind of hard to say that you've not been found out. So he's been playing, bad, to be honest, not just this season, but the later half of last season as well. And the surgery and a lot of has happened between seasons, him missing, the penalty at the Euros as well. There's just, there's a lot of pressure on this football player in particular, because he does a lot more than just play football as well. I've said on the show before, like, and this is in no way excuse for his performance on the pitch, but I think statistically they were looking at which athletes get the most abuse on social media, and he's second to LeBron James, which is absolutely unreal for a 23-year-old or 24-year-old to be undergoing. But in terms of his play on the pitch, he just looks like he's overthinking everything, like every aspect of his game. The simple passes that he was able to make, he's overhitting them. I'd love to think that he's just in his head, but and like Sahil said, this is just a condition to the fact of this terrible season that we're having, that it's affecting every single one of our go-to guys like Marcus and Bruno. But it's really alarming, and it's really concerning if he can get back to that. I just hope that he has someone in his corner just to kind of like guide him back into his style of play. Because, if both Rangnick and I think Ole had said in this past season that what is it going to take the questions were asked about what's it going to take for Rashford to get back to himself. They just literally said he needs to do what he does in the training pitch. So there's something there that he's doing right that's making him get picked, but it's just not translating entirely to what we're seeing on the pitch, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's talk also as well that him and Rangnick didn't get along. And I think that's because he wanted to play on the left, and Rangnick kept saying, no, you're going to play on the right, because Sancho plays on the left. So maybe that is that. The thing I will say, though, about the training, though, what he was probably doing in training was he was going past wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and, then he comes up against, the better defenders, and it's like, well, yeah, no, you're not getting past us. So, that might be a problem there. That, I think somebody actually mentioned this as well. I think it was Mark Goldrich who mentioned that on the show. No, it was not Mark Goldrich. Somebody mentioned it that, the defenders, they go up against the shitty United attackers and in training, and they think that they're very good, and then they come up against the better attackers, and so it's vice versa. So, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what happens. But anyway, we're talking about, the defenders. So I will talk about, we all know who's coming next, Harry Maguire, I mean, we said everything we need to say about him. What do you think the future holds for him? Because if I didn't see Maguire with the Ironman and not playing for, I know he's going to play for United next season. If I didn't see him play for United next season, it wouldn't be too soon. But he just looks like someone who, even he was one of the better defenders. He was one of the best defenders of the Euros. And then all of a sudden, he's just looks like he looks like a championship defender at this point. To be honest, he just doesn't look this season like anything what we thought he would be.
Yeah, I really can't defend any of his performances.
I don't think anyone can. I don't think even he can defend his own performances. If he could defend I don't think he could defend his own performances. Yeah.
The only thing I can give as a slight explanation is that the space between midfield and defense was too much at times this season. So maybe it was like, for most defenders it would be too much. But like, I guess if you're a world-class defender, like if you're being paid as a world-class defender, like the fee paid for him or the wages earning is probably equal to world-class defenders. You should have enough game sense in you, like enough reading ability to like deal with situations your team places itself in. Like, what's the difference between him and like any other mid-table Premier League defender if he can't understand what's in front of him and that he has to like change this game in a certain way to deal better and not keep exposing himself. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows he's not the quickest, he can't turn well. So there has to be some modifications he makes to his game. Which is why I feel like him being on the pitch as a captain shouldn't be an absolute certainty. The captaincy should be taken away from him. He should be treated as like out of the squad member, because he simply doesn't have the consistency to be the United captain, nor is there enough credibility, especially in a team full of much more talented players. I guess, like in a team full of achievers, I don't think Maguire has enough credibility to be captain, especially after the season. I'm not saying he's a bad defender. I still think he's a pretty good defender who should come good next season under like a coach who spent a preseason with him and like has clearly defined ideas communicated, I guess, over the summer. But I feel like there has to be some repercussions after the season, and I think captaincy should be taken out from him, and his role as a first choice defender should be under question. Like there should be a healthy competition between him, Varane, Lindelof, and I guess Julian Timber, who seems like he's coming in. So there should be like everyone should be given a free like an equal shot, and Maguire should be guaranteed a spot in the team after the season.
Yeah, we talked about Timber. We might be getting Timber. What's that song? The Kesha song? Like, background. Yeah, I'm getting Timber. Yeah, I know. But anyway, yeah, that's what might happen. We might do the reaction if that happens. We'll see whether it's Timber with his spot or is who it is. But I think if I touch, I mean, it's all about opinions actually. And I will say that, also I'll talk about Maguire, I'll talk about Sal's opinion later. But Farhan, what do you make of the fact of the captaincy is a good point that he probably should take that away. Do you think that, do you see Ten Hag fancying him in his system as a manager? Do you think that there's something there that Ten Hag can work with?
Say again, sorry.
With Maguire, do you see that there's something that Ten Hag can work with with regards to Harry Maguire?
Unless he's unless this man sees something that I don't see, I don't think so. Because he's a decent defender we saw in the Euros, but I don't like the international play to kind of like somewhat sell me on the fact that you're a good footballer, because I've seen players in the Euro shine, and when it comes to club soccer, they don't do much. And if
Pogba. I'm taking the piss.
You're definitely taking the piss. Pogba's a good player. But I think there's some other players like that, and Maguire being that. So in terms of like captaincy, your question was, do I see him? Does Ten Hag see him in the play? I think he'll try to utilize him because we're losing so many players. We might not be defenders as well. I think Eric Bailly is leaving us, and if we don't get Timber or Pau Torres, and Varane's never 100% healthy, I think he'll be utilizing this team. Whether or not it'll be for the best, I don't think so. I think he has these tendencies that a center back should not have, which is like these moments. You've seen the compilations where he's diving on the floor when he shouldn't be. He's pulling his own players down when he shouldn't be.
He's asking for a foul against his own player. I think we should do like every season. How they say Southampton every season has a 9 in him. I think Maguire every season has a comical moment in him. Like, yeah, that's just
But just to say, last thing is that Ten Hag, I don't know if you guys listened to his press conference. One thing that he did mention was that they asked him about Maguire, and he's very tight-lipped, and I appreciate that after Rangnick was just letting it fly these last few press conferences. But he did mention that it's a new season, and maybe that's his way of saying that he's gonna have his choice of who's gonna be captain and who's gonna play. So all the power to him. But I think he'll play. I just don't know how much.
Yeah, I think he'll play because he is not, unless he's sold, he has to play, and he's gonna play. I just don't think there's anything there that then I can work with, because he likes defenders with pace. Maguire doesn't have pace. He likes defenders who've got that awareness, anticipation. There are a lot of technical flaws. I can excuse, not having the physical attributes. I can excuse not having, the certain technical, but like the ball playing, whatever, all of those things. But there's just too many technical and mental attributes that are missing that I think will stop him. But anyway, one thing that I didn't notice that Eric Ten Hag said he's a good player. This is what he said about Harry Maguire. He's a good player. He's accomplished a lot. And, and I just, and he says, and we'll see how he does. And I was like, maybe he's going to start laughing at it. But like, how did he control himself? He's like laughing. What is he talking about? Harry Maguire accomplished a lot, done a lot for Man United. He did a lot. He did well last season. He said he played well last season. I was like, okay, maybe somebody's told him that this is Harry Maguire, but actually showed him clips of somebody else. Like, I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, we'll see what he does with Harry Maguire. Yeah.
He said accomplished. He didn't say accomplish good things. He just maybe accomplished.
Yeah, okay. That's a funny. Accomplished a lot. Yeah, he's accomplished a lot. But anyway, we're kind of coming to the end here. Talking about Rangnick, and because I want to kind of end this on this note with Rangnick. What do you make of his tenure at the club? We know Oli was probably a failure, and I think it ended in bad and ugly disappointment. But what did you make of Rangnick's time at the club? Again, a divisive question, but we got to ask it.
Right.
Yeah.
I only have points for the press conferences. I started few games. So on a scale of 10, I would give him like a 3 or 4, I guess. It's good he's been exposing the board, he's been exposing the malfunction at the club that's been going on for ages. So we all know, like in the clear, we all know, like he also really wanted a few players, and he wanted like a striker in the Jan window. He wasn't given that. He was very honest about it. So I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate that he didn't hide anything from the fans. He said it how it was. But um, like if you want to compare mid-season impacts, like I guess the person you want, the coach, the manager you want to look at is Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte came in around the same time, turned the whole season around. Rangnick hasn't coached in a long time, not in such a high pressure job anywhere. So it was impossible for him to like implement his style. There, I guess we can say that there have been no traces of what we expected from, like, we've seen like how Jurgen Klopp play, how Nagelsmann plays, how Tuchel makes his team play. We have seen none of that. So because there has been like none of his none of his footprint on this team, and the results also haven't gone on. Honestly, he hasn't adjusted either. So I would say on a on his performance is like negligible. Like there's nothing over there. It's only been negative. But just for the press conferences, I would like that. Thanks for the honesty. So yeah, three out of 10.
3 out of 10. All right, 3 out of 10. Okay, a little bit low, I think, but that's okay. Farhan, what do you think? What are you thoughts?
If we're looking at what he was like, what the interim manager is supposed to do, and I think one of the key things for me is like bring a team together, and I think he had a lot of trouble doing that, and I don't think he's particularly good at that. I think he's just more, his whole. We all knew his bread and butter was like in the teams that he had put together as a footballing director or director of football or whatever stature he sat on the board. So, we were all, I for one was excited when he came in because I thought, this is exactly what, the team needed, like some tough love or whatever the case may be. But it was the complete opposite. It was just turmoil. It didn't go, in terms of like on the pitch, it didn't showcase in terms of like, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the first few weeks we saw some of it, and then there was like a groove in between February and March where they were playing the 4-3-3 and it looked pretty decent. And the other aspect of it was that he saw that the 4-2-2 was not the 4-2-2-2 was not something that worked for him, so he tried to switch between different things. My favorite part of Rangnick is like Sahel is the press conference. I was like,
I think we all love the press conference. I mean,
no, but that's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like if that's the best thing about Rangnick that we liked, then that's he didn't do what an interim manager was supposed to do. And if you compare him to Conte as like, or someone who comes in as in the interim and looks and does even like Eddie Howe for what he did in I forget the team. Was it
Newcastle?
Newcastle, yeah. What he's done with Newcastle, you can see styles of play showing, but the season just got worse towards the end, and it's not entirely on Rangnick. So I'm gonna give him. I like the press conferences a little bit more than a 3, so I'm gonna give him a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, so you went 5-3. You know what? I'm gonna see. The thing is, you guys compare him to Conte and Howe. There's a massive difference. One, they were permanent managers. Eddie Howe, Rangnick wasn't a permanent manager. He was interim, clear mandate interim. Eddie Howe was given what 50-60 million to spend. They spent 25 million on Chris Wood of all people. Like 25, you can spend 25 million on Chris Wood. You know what that is, right? And of course, Tottenham got a couple of players as well. I think for a total 80 million loans, but they will become 80 million pound signings. Rangnick was given 0. That's just what he was given. So I think he walked into a completely impossible job. I don't think anybody was going to save it as an interim manager. Now, if you had got Conte as a permanent manager, I'm sure he would have done much better than Rangnick. I think on the field, I think he's an average tactician. I think that's something we've all come to. Maybe we didn't know it, but now we do know he's a very average tactician. So I think I'll probably give him a 3 out of 10 as a tactician. But I like the press conferences. I like the fact, and this is where it is. I like the fact that they would never have got Erik ten Hag. If they didn't get Rangnick, they were not going to get Erik ten Hag. And that in alone makes it, gives me like a couple of points just for the fact that he was there to get Erik ten Hag in. And no matter what the media says, he had a part to play in that. Yes, British media, he did have a part to play in that. So for that, but then again, the players' issues, I like Farhan said tough love. Tough love only works when both parents are in it together, by the way. If one parent is soft and the other person is tough, it doesn't work. And in this case, the directors didn't want tough love. So it will never work, right? All the players have got to do is got to say, hey, this guy's not talking nicely to me. If you don't sort him out, I'm going this season. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll take care of it. There's the things that there's a mitigating circumstance. I would say probably 6 is what I would do. 6 is what I would go. But in that note, I will give you another conspiracy theory. I think they set up Rangnick to fail, and they did it on purpose. The Glazers, that is, and the reason why they did it is because Rangnick was a fan appointment. It wasn't one that the Glazers wanted. They wanted Pochettino. PSG said go do one. If you remember at that time, there was all these crazy rumors about Steve Bruce coming, and all that. It's just weird people, right? Like Steve. What business does Steve Bruce have saying that he can be an interim manager for but anyway, right? So they were like, well, the fans said, well, we want Rangnick. They said, okay, fine, let's get Rangnick in. And I think the idea was, we'll get a fan appointment, we'll set him up to fail, and then we can say, well, the fans don't know, we know. So listen to us, and we will get Pochettino, and all will be good and hunky dory. But the fans basically didn't hate Rangnick despite all the bad results. We still loved him. And I mean, there were reports as well. The players were disappointed that and angry that the fans loved Rangnick and hated them for whatever reason. So I wonder why. I wonder why. So I mean, all of these things, right? So that's my conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that it's true, but I'm saying I think he was.
No, but it's well known that he was set up to fail when he didn't get the coaches that he wanted, right? He said he wanted. I think there was a report that the same report I'm alluding to. He wanted 6 coaches. They gave him 3, and the 3 that he wanted were not selected, so he had to choose people that he had to like literally work with in the past. So of course,
an unpaid intern. He's an unpaid intern, like not an intern, but an unpaid employee is
volunteer.
Remote working, unpaid remote work. That takes work from home to a whole new level, doesn't it? Like, well, we were all working from home anyway, so yeah. Why not the coaches? Yeah, I know that's such a weird thing, right? But anyway, this is coming to the end. Normally I ask people for the players of the season, but I'm not gonna embarrass myself and these guys were asking that nobody deserves to be the player. But the loss of contender style, who's your flop of the season? I know it's a tough one, isn't it? That's a tough one.
That's the
question. I really think Scott McTominay had a horrible season. He goes under the radar because no one expects anything from him. Like I want to say Rashford because I like Rashford so much as a player and as a person. I really respect him and I had expectations, but he didn't do well. But I feel like McTominay maybe had an equally bad season. Like he doesn't do anything a midfielder is supposed to do. Like how can you complete 2 passes in a
Hey, but he was mad at a couple of teams though. But yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Okay, Scott McTominay, that's your pick.
Yeah, actually. No, you can't go past Harry Maguire nowhere. Yeah, I forgot Harry Maguire.
Can't go past Harry Maguire. Yeah, I know. It's like, but what Harry Maguire has done is he's made Rafael Varane like go under the radar. I think he's been very disappointing as well. Just he's not played, but he's gone under the radar because Maguire has been so bad. But he's not Rafael Varane is not my pick, by the way. I'll make my pick later. But Farhan, who's yours?
I'm gonna say fullbacks.
Fullbacks. Okay. Which ones? So all 4?
All of them.
Wow.
We need new. Yeah, I just can't choose one. They all have to take some type of blame, but the fullbacks in particular, specifically in this last 3 or 4 weeks, I can't stand them. I can't stand Tellers. I think Dalot is probably on the bench, and I don't want to see him anywhere on the pitch unless whoever this new. I hope we get a right back, but I hope because wan-Bissaka is leaving. He's being sold, so that's just a testament that we're getting somebody, I guess, in that position. I don't think Dalot's particularly good. So and Luke Shaw, I think he's the leak of all this information that we have.
That's another thing. There's so many things. I could probably do a 2-part episode about this. Yeah, Luke Shaw as well, wan-Bissaka as well. You know what? And we haven't even talked about the summer transfer window. We're already out of time, and we already passed time. Actually, this is the longest one that we've done. We haven't even talked about the summer transfer window.
There's no hope. That's what we usually leave on a hope.
No, we'll leave on a hopeful note. We'll leave on a hopeful note. No, we will. But I mean, for me, he picked the fullbacks. I was going to say wan-Bissaka actually. Yeah, actually, he was just abysmal every time he played, and I don't think he should have played as much as he did. But yeah, I mean, you could put any.
Since November, right? Sorry? He hasn't played since November. Like he's been dropped.
No, he played the Champions League games. Right, he played against Atletico, right? Yeah, he played
I forgot, I guess.
Yeah, I know. We all forgot. It was the worst player on the pitch, but yeah, I'd probably Cavani as well. I would actually pick Cavani. Because Farhan picked the wan-Bissaka, I will pick Cavani. I thought, and not because he was bad when he played, he just wasn't interested in playing. For some reason, he just didn't want to play. And I get it. Yeah, Ronaldo's come in, he's taken the number. All of that. Just be professional, just prove yourself. But no, well. Anyway, we'll just end on a hopeful note. So we'll talk about the summer transfer window. Sahil, how many players United are going to get? How many players do you think they need to get? And that's the question, isn't it?
How much are they going to get, or how much?
How many players are they going to bring in? Because
what do they need?
Well, they need probably a whole new team, according to me. Probably need 11 new players, and that's unrealistic.
Okay.
How many should they get?
One goalkeeper.
Oh, you need a new goalkeeper? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the AI is going to cut it for long. He's like, let's matter.
He's gonna be you know what? He's going to be the captain. I'm saying this now. He's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's one more mistake. I read reports about him getting contract extension.
Yeah,
it's like, please stay away from that. But okay, I don't know.
Well, the AI is another divisive player, so we'll leave that. But yeah, okay. So you feel they need a new goalkeeper, all right?
A keeper, a right back, left back. I think we need new ones, but I don't think Luke Shaw and Alex is a bad players. Let's see what 10 Hag does with them. So I'm going to leave them be. One centre back for sure, two midfielders, one striker, and one
Counting
winger.
here, 6.
So
you got 6 here.
6?
And one winger, you said.
One winger as well.
One winger, so that's 7. Oh, I say 7 players.
Yeah, 7 players. Yeah.
You think they can get 7 players though? I don't think
they should. If they can, I don't know, but they should. 7 players.
Well, apparently United only have 80 to 100 million plus sales. That's what they're saying. I don't know.
Yeah, sales are going to be like, I think 30 million this season, not more than that.
It'll actually be more than that. But anyway, yeah, 80 to 100 million, that's the budget. I mean, and here's Tottenham talking, we're going to put 150 million more. Newcastle are going to, Villa are signing up all sorts of players.
Yeah.
Newcastle obviously have got like just 500 million just probably lying on. Probably they got 100 million probably just lying on the couch or something. Oh yeah, there's another 100.
But just one more thing about the transfer window. I think United have too many people involved. Like there's Rangnick, there's John Murto, there's Darren Fletcher. I have no idea what Darren Fletcher does in this club. He's got yellow cards in a game as a technical director, whatever. I don't know what
he's the guy who manages the technical touchline. He's the one who does the technical area. Manager. That's what he did.
The most obnoxious appointment I've seen, but I'm guessing he'll have some same transfers. And there was talk of getting someone like Paul Mitchell in. So there's 4 key people deciding transfers. Like 4 people with
Paul Mitchell's not coming, that's for sure. Yeah. Deputy director. They will get.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. But I feel like they still have too many people. I think John Muller is in for his schooling from Rangnick because Rangnick is an experienced person. John Muller is just starting at his job. So I think this transfer window might go through, but like.
I have to do another one on another episode just on the restructure and all of that. Man, this is something to talk about.
But I still expect some sort of malfunction, like dysfunction.
Yeah, there will be, and we'll talk about that. I mean, we'll do another episode at some point in the future. We'll have a lot of time to do that. Anyway, Farhan, how many players?
I'll make it quick. How much did Sahil say? 7?
Sahil is 7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah,
I'm gonna say we're getting 5.
5. Maybe. Okay, which 5 positions?
Because center backs already talked about. Right back, I think we'll just get 1 midfielder. I don't think we'll get 2. There's striker or a forward, someone at the top, and did I say right back? I said right back. No, a winger. I think a winger, because that right wing is cursed, boy. I don't know what's going on over there. We can't.
Well, they had a right winger. They just said to play him on the left with Sancho. They said,
we're gonna keep buying until we can fill that up.
We keep buying players. Well, you bought Amad Diallo to play right wing. He plays as a false 9. You get Ballester, you loan him out. You buy Sancho, you come on the left. It's like nobody wants to be a right winger. But 5 sounds about right. I think 5 sounds. I think they will go for 1 forward, and I think they'll buy 2 midfielders. I just have a feeling.
I hope so. We're losing so many. We lost 2 midfielders. I hope we do, but Frankie de Jong, I don't know about that, man. We'll see.
Yeah. Frankie de Jong, that's a sign that might happen.
But again, seems like that's offered to United and not really that United has pursued, and none of the ones that we've been offered have worked out. Like most of them haven't worked out. Like we have.
There's also Enzo Fernandez. There's a lot of players have been linked. But on that note, yes, there's going to be a lot of summer activity, and we'll be here to talk about that. Of course, this video has been a bit longer than I thought it would, but that's United. We just talk because there's so many
therapy.
I know therapy, but you know what? City won the title. We just quick. Yeah, and United is like, I guess misery draws more time, and we spend more time doing misery. But anyway, thank you so much, Sahil. Thank you so much, Farhan, for joining me and sharing your thoughts. Always appreciate it. If you did enjoy this long video, do give it a like, do share it as well. Do share your thoughts as well on the United season. I think this is the last, hopefully that we'll be talking about this past season, because we all want to forget about it. We all want to forget about the worst United team, in Premier League history, statistically the worst. Anyway, yeah, and of course, do remember to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook as well as on YouTube. We've got a the biggest game of the season coming up on Saturday with the Champions League final, and we'll be doing a preview for that tomorrow, of course. So we'll be here for that. We'll probably continue doing a few more season review shows as well, once that is done. So do stay tuned. When you subscribe, you do get notification about that as well. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good day or night, and we'll see you again maybe soon. Take care. Bye-bye.